In this video, we're going to look at the Chapter 9 of Test-Driven Development, Times We're Living in. Now, what we're going to be tackling in this video is implementing currency. So currency is a concept, and we're going to start with our initial implementation of it, and we'll jump over to IntelliJ and start implementing that right now. Now, the first thing that we want to do is we're going to add this functionality. We're going to add in a new test. We'll say test currency. What we want to say is assert equals. And we will say money, dollar, and we'll just initialize it with 1, and then say currency. And we can see that that is flagged because that property does not exist yet. And we can change that to franc. So there's our test method, and right now it's not even going to compile because we don't have that property. So the first thing we can do is come over here to start moving towards that. So just adding in the abstract method there, and this actually needs to be a method. I made a slight mistake there. There, that's better. So now it will at least compile, and our test will probably still fail at this point because we're not doing anything to set it. So let's go into dollar, and you can see that it's complaining. So I'm going to come in here and Alt Enter, and you can see IntelliJ is asking to implement method. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we'll implement currency, and let's do the same thing here. So now our test will probably at least compile, but we expect currency to fail. You can see that it's returning back a null, so let's go ahead and fix that. So now let's see that we do get our test into the green. Now that's all happy, but we can do some more interesting things with this. So what we can do is actually make that an instance variable and return back that variable like so. And now we can actually initialize that in the constructor like this. And let's do the same for franc. Like that. And let's double check our tests, make sure that those are still happy, which they are. And this is something that we could externalize. So we can say here, and we'll do the same here. Now we can see that we broke this in multiple places, and it points out something to us. So let's fix our factory methods first. So this should be passing in. And now that this also brings up a problem because now we have a choice here because we are using this to return back that amount, and we should be using that factory method. So I'm going to go ahead and make that change now. So now we can say, and refactor that out. And it's a nice refactoring because now we're removing more and more instances of where that object was getting created. Now we can actually use our little factory method from the money class. And this is consolidating our logic. So this is a really nice refactoring because now we're consolidating that logic. We could have put in here, put in USD to that, but now then we'd have that logic in multiple places. So now we're consolidating the logic to construct our dollars and francs into a single spot, which is a really nice refactoring. Now let's go ahead and double check that everything runs correctly. You can see that we're still happy. And now the one thing that's very apparent here is we can move this into the money class because we don't need to be doing all this work here. What we want to be able to do is say super and currency. And now that's going to be a nice refactoring. I can come in here, say create constructor and money, like so. And now we can actually change this, say, like so. So that's cleaning things up nicely here. So now that's calling super, and we can do the same thing here. And this no longer has to declare currency, so we'll get rid of that because that's coming off the money class. And he can get rid of that as well. So now we're consolidating all that logic into the money class. Let's double check things. So this is looking better, and we can still hang on that. And actually, we can, instead of declaring this on both, we can refactor that as well. So basically, get rid of that. So now our currency method becomes 1. That doesn't need to be implemented in the Frank class as well. You can see how we're whittling out the logic from these different classes. So now everything's being pushed down into the money class. We have a single implementation of it. We cleaned up the multiple constructor calls, so everything's now using our factory methods. So a lot of nice refactorings in this section here. And again, what we are ultimately going to try to do is get rid of these 2 subclasses. So we're gradually evolving things to do that. So I'm going to call this chapter complete. And you can see here, I've gone in and taken currency off the list. In the next video, we are going to take a look at common times.